You have 2 rest days. You're prioritizing your quads first in the training week, and then you'll hit upper body, and then you'll take a day off. And then what happens after that? Are you hitting quads twice in the week because you're trying to bring them up now? Because I
Yes.
know from last time, yeah, you had a hamstring bias day and a quad bias day and a torso bias day and then an arm shoulder bias day. So that's what you were doing prior in our last chat. So just for the listeners, for some context. So how is that changing now as far as the frequency as well?
For obviously, like a beginner, you need to have more of a balanced approach, and you don't have the skill set of getting so much stimulus out of one set. But when you're hyper advanced, you can get a ton of stimulus, also a ton of fatigue, though, out of like one set. Like I could do like one set of lateral raises to total failure into partials, and my muscles will
Yeah.
stick around,
Yeah.
especially within a gaining phase with enough calories. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that helped, by the way? Like, do you feel that made a difference in your physique from 2023
Oh,
to
100%.
2024?
100%, I would say so, yeah.
Nice. Obviously, we're talking about, well, lightweight world champion or bantamweight, we should say, right? That's the official title when you did compete in
Bantamweight,
2023.
technically,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, true.
technically, yeah. So, what is your daily routine look like? We didn't get into this last time, but how does that look? You wake up, from the moment you wake up, what time is that? And then to the moment you go to bed, what does that
Okay,
look
okay.
like? Let me ask you this, Dirk. So we were talking about what you want to improve. What are some of the changes you're going to make from a training standpoint moving into this offseason? Because if you missed it for those tuning in, check out part one, because in part one, Dirk and I discussed his training where you, Dirk, dove into all these details about how you went from 5-day frequency to 4-day frequency in the off season leading up to contest prep, and how that was so
Yeah.
beneficial for recovery. And you felt like you were making arguably some of the best gains during that time because of how it contributed to your recovery and your overall
Yes.
ability to focus on getting more out of less, essentially. And that's because you're more advanced now than you were in your early 20s. So, anyways, I don't want to go too much into detail about what we talked about last time. If you missed that episode,
Yes.
go tune into that. But what are some of the changes moving now into this off season, and how are you going to adjust to accommodate for the lats, the back, I should say, back development, delts, and quads, like you were just speaking to?
Yeah, like a main thing when it comes to that, I would say is like at that level where I'm at now, it's also like prioritizing in a way of like wanting extreme low levels of volume for the muscle parts that are already quite good. Because at this stage, I can't bring everything up at once. Because also from a fatigue standpoint, right? Like it is for my body now, like the body is like fighting so much against it doesn't want to gain more muscle, right? I need to give it a very good reason to gain more muscle, and like the muscle groups that's already quite good, I want volumes on that would scare a lot of people out of going so low volume like crazy. And then for instance, quads, I will put like more on it, or then also for the back, where I will have the capacity for it. And then the other muscle groups, and then my glutes, my hamstrings, I want very low volumes on that. So I have the capacity to like put a lot of effort into that, and then also like adaptations for that. So this is like one of the main plans. So quads, for instance, is like the first day of the week. I never trained legs in my whole training career. Like on a Monday after like coming off 2 rest days. So that is a big change, like having quads selected the first day of the week. And then on the second day, like a more back focused day will be the plan. And then day 3 and 4, like yeah, like everything else in a way. So this will be one of the plans moving forward. And yeah, I would say that's the main thing while making sure I hit the great executions on everything, high end intensity and train very hard, getting the calories in, the nutrients, the protein, all the basics. But I think one of the biggest things is like going very low volume on the already good body parts so I can put that much more where I want to grow basically more. Yeah, that is the plan moving forward.
Nice. Yeah, that's understandable and makes sense at your stage in the career. Like you said, you can't bring up everything all at the same time. That's those days are done. Like where you have this like super balanced training program, right?
And muscle maintenance is so damn easy. People don't realize. Like you could do, if you're very advanced, I would even argue you can do one set a week and maintain.
Dude,
One
it's fun.
hard set.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because sometimes it scares me how low I've gone in terms of volume because I'm focusing on like business and doing prioritizing other things in my life at a we'll say within a certain window of time because obviously I'm not competing on the world stage. It's a very different goals at the moment, right? I'm not competing at all, so very different goals. But it scares me how little is required to maintain. And then sometimes I think maybe I'm even potentially growing because strength is going up. You feel more recovered. Your pumps are better. Everything is just better. That it almost feels like, man, like maybe this is you just being on the optimistic side, but am I growing with this low volume? Probably not. Probably
Yeah.
not. But it's just interesting how low it can be, and you can still, like you said, maintain. So that's a good thing for the listeners to hear because it really does not require a lot to maintain. That's for sure.
100%. Especially the more advanced you get, like what you can get out of one all-out set. So much, so much. And that is one of the things why it can work. Like for obviously like a beginner, you need to have more of a balanced approach and you don't have the skill set of getting so much stimulus out of one set. But when you're hyper advanced, you can get a ton of stimulus, also a ton of fatigue though, out of like one set. Like I could do like one set of lateral raises to total failure into partials and my muscles will
Yeah.
stick around,
Yeah.
especially within a gaining phase with enough calories. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure,
So
for sure. You
yeah.
mentioned about the quads doing that first after 2 rest days. So let's dive into just a little bit of the details before we transition to some nutrition, which I wanted to talk about with you today. But
Yeah.
we're not done here yet. So let's put it this way. You have 2 rest days. You're prioritizing your quads first in the training week, and then you'll hit upper body, and then you'll take a day off. And then what happens after that? Are you hitting quads twice in the week because you're trying to bring them up now? Because I know
Yes.
from last time, yeah, you had a hamstring bias day and a quad bias day and a torso bias day and then an arm shoulder bias day. So that's what you were doing prior in our last chat. So just for the listeners, for some context. So how is that changing now as far as the frequency as well?
Yes, so when it comes to that, like the quads, like 2 times a week, like the first day will be more like a more quad bias day in a way, and then the second day on the first day, for instance, will still be some quads, but a little less, let's say, also fatiguing movements in a way. And the first
Okay.
day is like the hard movement where I get the most out of it, and then also like with the hamstrings, a little bit less hard stuff, and then on the first day. There I'm doing like the RDL, for instance. Yeah, and with like arms and shoulders, that day is totally out for now. I still focus somewhat on arms, but I do that by yeah, still keeping the volume a little higher there on arms still. So I believe because also on arms, like the fatigue from arms is like not that much in a way, like when you do it smart. And then doing that at the end of like my upper body sessions, basically, like with arms. So that is like one of the changes, and we're going to see how that plays out with everything. Because the last offseason, the main focus was like delts and arms, ported up a lot, and now it will be still somewhat of a focus, but more so even on the quad side of things. So that
Okay.
is like how we're changing that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because you were really specializing in the arm development last time we spoke when you were leading up to the
All
contest,
arm
right?
day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was like quite a bit of exercises and quite a bit of volume there, right?
Yes, a ton of volume. Like a whole arm day. It took me still like 90 minutes to get done. So yeah, a lot of arm volume. So yeah.
Do you feel that helped, by the way? Like, do you feel that made a difference in your physique from 2023
Oh,
to
100%.
2024?
100%, I would say so, yeah.
Nice.
Putting it first day in the week. That made
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah. That's right. You had a first day in the
lot of
week, right?
volume.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're still rocking with the 4 days per week?
Hmm.
Okay.
That's the plan for now. We might go back to a 5 day split deeper into the off season, but I let Alberto also decide that. So
Yeah, yeah,
going to see
yeah.
how it goes. So for now, still running with like definitely like 4 days is the plan.
I can imagine that once you're kind of mid-off season, calories are high, recovery's really good, then you
Yeah,
can, depending on what Alberto and what you guys decide, but then I can see and understand how that fifth day can be more advantageous at that point.
exactly. Like playing it by ear, playing it by recovery. And if I'm already beaten up with 4 days, obviously it makes no sense with going for fifth day. But if I feel like, hey, like I wake up in the morning and then like, oh, I wish I can train today. I don't need that extra rest day, and then that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. You
Maybe
know, it's
put it in.
interesting. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but have you ever tried the asynchronous type of split where you'll just do like two on, one off, and kind of just repeat that
Oh,
sequence?
never did that. Never
No,
tried that
eh?
out. Probably a
Yeah.
good idea though. Like some people do that, yeah.
Yeah, because I know with the fifth day, obviously, then you're throwing in three in a row, and that's where people. I don't know if you've experienced. Have you experienced that where the third, because it's three in a row, you're like, that last
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
you're
that
just
hurts you
dragging your
after two
feet
days.
a little bit. Yeah.
So you need to do easy day though. If you do 3 days in a row, what I would do is like the third day, a very easy day.
Mm,
So the smartest thing would be maybe like an arm and delt day on
right.
day 3. That makes sense because yeah, like That's the easiest. And then the hardest stuff, day one, the mid-hard stuff, day two, and then day three, like a very easy kind of day. So this
Okay.
definitely makes sense. Yeah.
That makes the most sense. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're trying to do
And
three
then
really
two
tough
days
days
off.
in a row. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you still take the 2 days off after.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. Then 2 days off, then 2 days on, 1 day off, 3 days. Oh, it depends. That's not what I did
Yeah.
before, but that makes sense. This
Yeah,
could
that can make
maybe
sense too. I know the 7 day week throws everybody off. That's where people start to run into. This is where programming, like knowing how to program, is so valuable and important. Because what you just mentioned there, someone might have not even thought about, right? They're like, oh, 5 days is too much. Well, if you do five really tough training sessions, then yeah, that might be too much. Like if you're doing full upper body, 2 hour full upper body days with whole compounds and
exactly.
everything. Yeah, yeah. So you got to know
Be
what you're
quite a
doing.
thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. No, that makes total sense. I know because when I spoke with Benjamin, he was, I think he was doing something like that where he was like two on, one off, two on, one off. He just kept going in
Yeah, a
that.
lot of people in Germany doing that kind of approach with
Yeah,
like a 10 rotation kind of thing, where
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
can also be
Interesting.
very smart. Yeah.
How do you feel like, because you've worked with Alberto for a long time, we spoke about this last time.
Yeah.
At this point, do you feel like the collaboration is less than it was obviously 10 years ago because you're just in a much more advanced spot? Or do you feel like it's even more now because he's helping you refine things in a such a more specific way than maybe you would have thought, which is his obviously, he has years on you. I think he's probably 10, maybe 12 years older than you, right? But then I think if I have that right.
Yes, yes, he is like 12, I think, 11,
Yeah.
12. Yeah. So yeah, he lets me make nowadays also a lot of decisions myself in a way. And then I will ask him like, oh, but like what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So even within the off season now, like, hey, like he lets me decide of like the calories I'm going to eat. And he just tells me, hey, get to this body weight by end of September and do it. That's it.
Yeah.
And with the training, he's obviously doing like all my programming, like the exercise selection, all of it. But the training side, he doesn't really needs to like see a lot of training footage and videos. So I can see nowadays also myself, like, hey, the movement this or that is going good or not so good. And also on the calories. So a lot of like it's like a back and forth in a way of like, hey, Albert, what do you think about this? Then he gives me his feedback. And that is how it goes nowadays. And within the first few years, it was more so of like, hey, he had to tell me much more to do this, do that, A, B, C, D. And now it's like a lot of things obviously should be like that, right? Like where you can make also your own decisions with like some basic stuff. And then obviously when deep into prep, like there he has to decide like, hey, the calories to eat, the macros, things like that, where it is very hard for an athlete, even if you're very experienced when you get to those, yeah, shredded levels.
Right.
So that's how
Right.
we're doing it nowadays, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
we're going to transition to this nutrition part now. But before we do, last question on this training that actually I was curious about. So now that you've put the arms on maintenance, would you say it's maintenance, by the way? Did I have that right? Maintenance
The
volume?
I would say I think I will even make gains on arms still. I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
basically happening after your compound. So you're basically doing kind of like two torso days now with your upper bodies for the most part?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
so still like a little bit of a recovery phase. Like this block for another like 5 weeks is still like
Ah,
somewhat of a recovery kind of block. And then after we push things really up because like competing back to back, it was definitely needed like this, like a little ease off phase afterwards, not directly going hard. Because also time is a little bit more on my side now. So if I plan to compete in 2026, it's like a whole another year of gains. So there's like
yeah.
no big rush and making sure like the systems, everything is like running at 100%. Yeah.
Wow. I've completely got the timing not wrong, but I didn't even realize it's not even been, what has it been like less than 3 months since Worlds?
Oh, it's 6 weeks.
Yeah. So like that's not even, you're still in that recovery period. I completely so you're just thinking about, okay, maybe I'm assuming maybe you don't even have your full on off season plan yet then because you're still in this recovery phase or
Yes, still, but I'm already like able to push harder now at the gym. I definitely
okay.
feel like the time is like the momentum is building up, right? Like muscle gain doesn't happen like this or that. It's like right, a gradual process in a way. So Yeah, like we're building up the momentum, like recovering more and more, and then out of nowhere, I think by February I can like really push hard again at the gym,
Okay.
and it's the kind of feeling like everyone who's done the contest prep to like very lean levels. It takes some time for the body to yeah, be able to put new tissue on again, and it's often another thing of like 2 or 3 weeks where you're like, hey, boom, now I put new tissue on again. Like it takes like a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah. How heavy are you now relative to your contest weight? Six
Now I'm
weeks.
at around 70 kg. That is around about 5 kg above. That is
Okay,
like
that's not bad, right?
12 pounds. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
12
it's like,
pounds in 6 weeks. Yeah. Is that too much
yeah,
or?
I think that's perfect for me. That is
Okay.
exactly what I aim for. Like around 8%, I think, above stage weight. That is like main goal is always like getting the body weight up quite fast, that I recover quicker, feel better again, and from here slowing it down like a lot again. So
Okay. What do you think your cap will be this off season?
it will be between 74 to 76 kg, Alberto
Okay.
said. So yeah, another 4 to 6 kg to go until end of September. That is the plan.
Oh, nice. And then you'll
So
start and then you'll start cleaning it up, I should say.
I pre-prep cut basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
plan.
That's wild that you did back to now I start thinking I'm like that back-to-back season is insane that you did that.
Yes, it was a hard thing because yeah, if you get to elite conditioning 2 years in a row, that is the thing. Because until Dubai, Taiwan, oh, easy going, and then hey, no, not Taiwan, Dubai, no, Dubai, Taiwan, and Germany and Worlds, and I was like, wow, now I really start feeling it in a way. So
Yeah.
I mean, also like from a mindset perspective, right? Like you getting yourself into this, let's say, dark phase, like it, and you don't have that much of a break in between, right? You like going all in like year to year. That is was definitely a hard challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Not too many bodybuilders are doing that. We spoke about this last time, but not too many bodybuilders are doing that at your age.
Yes, with like 29 still, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So under
Yeah.
30
And
competing
if
back to
people do
back.
that, what I often see, the second time they don't get as conditioned or they don't finish the prep. And yeah, and the thing is like when you get super conditioned 2 times in a row, that's hitting hard. Yeah.
That's where having that experienced coach, like in your case, Berto, really benefits, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
So
Shout out to Team
driving it
3D.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Team 3D MJ, they're doing their thing, man. So
But
let's do this. People are curious about this maybe because obviously we're talking about, well, lightweight world champion or bantamweight, we should say, right? That's the official title when you did compete in
random
2023.
way, technically.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, true.
technically, yeah. So what is your daily routine look like? We didn't get into this last time, but how does that look? You wake up, from the moment you wake up, what time is that? And then to the moment you go to bed, what does that
Okay,
look
okay.
like?
I developed a very monk-like routine during prep, which I try to keep up during my off season now. So in prep, I had extreme days where I went to bed at 8 p.m., woke up at like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm not that extreme right now because it's like obviously not like sustainable in off season when like we want to like do stuff, sometimes also socialize, do stuff with people, and you hear, oh, I have to go to bed at 8 p.m. That's what's going on. So yeah, I switched it a little bit up to like going to bed now at around like 10 p.m., waking up at like usually around 6 to 7, something like that. And I'm waking up. I like to do like a morning meditation each morning to set up the day for like 10 minutes. Then I go for a morning walk for like 15
Hmm.
minutes. I feel like before I do anything, like before I check socials, work, anything, taking a walk, I feel like, hey, the sun, especially in Thailand, is boom, waking me up, a little movement. Yeah. And then usually I'm like reading a little bit and then I dive into work basically. That's like how my routine looks like. So that feels the best for me. And then, yeah, and then when I have a training day, I usually go to the gym at around like 11-ish, 12. And I see it as a work break in a way. Or like, I mean, training is also work for me, let's say as a coaching break. So going to the gym after having like a, yeah, post-workout, doing a little more work. And then in the evening, I always have like designated downtime where I maybe watch some Netflix, play some PlayStation. I think that's also important. Or meet some people, meet some friends. And same thing on my off training days. It's a very similar routine basically, where I wake up at the same time, doing work, and then maybe I finish work earlier, and then I meet up with some people or yeah, or do any other kind of hobby on the flip side of it. So yeah, like a very boring kind of routine. But yeah, that is how it goes. Yeah.
Nice. No, Love that, man. That's what helps you get the results that you get, and you enjoy it, you love it. And I love the morning routine though, the meditation before. I think a lot of people can benefit from that actually, especially with energy too, like getting your energy right. They say the sunshine, grounding, all that stuff's very beneficial. Meditation, right?
I tell it all my clients if they're very stressed out or overthinking, meditation helps tremendously with that, with like or also even like a morning walk or an evening walk. It can really help clear out the mind if you're like stressing about little things and all of it. So this can be a big thing. And also for the focus side of things, even like I think my training benefits from that, right? Like I'm with meditation, it's like if you're at the gym, you can be very focused during the movement, or you can think about something else, especially with training try biceps or something, right? It's easy to like, yeah, swap away and be very, it's training is also a form of meditation for me in a way. So in
Yeah.
the morning meditation helps with that. So it's, yeah, it's very nice. I like
Nice.
that. Like, and everyone enjoys that, right? Like, and I think that is one, a lot of elite bodybuilders, they genuinely enjoy that routine boring. Like, it's not for everyone. That is for sure. I know a lot of people who would burn out with that lifestyle because it's just
Hmm.
too boring for them.
Right. They need
Yeah.
more spontaneity. I think I'm saying that
Adventure.
right. Yeah.
Spontaneity,
Spon
adventure, and
Adventure.
change. A lot of people need that. Like they need like that, yeah, constant stimulation in a way,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like changes. Yeah,
I understand.
it's
And it's funny. It's funny you transfer that into like even like the intricate details of bodybuilding. Those are the same types of people sometimes that they're maybe constantly changing their routine, and they're constantly trying
I
to
see it
like
with
program hop
athletes.
because they want something different, like a new exercise,
Coach
new.
hop, exercise
Yeah.
hop. I see this even with some clients. Like I can tell like there's two types of athletes as well, where like there's that type of athlete who always wants a new program. Oh, today I tried this exercise. Dirk, today I tried this exercise. And then there's the other type where it's like they stick with the same thing for months. And they can basically tell the personality type almost. Like the same way how they treat the gym and training, that's how people treat life in a way. Like the
Yeah.
people who really stick with the same program all the time. They can live the same day-to-day life. The people who always needs new exercise and stuff. So also in life like that. They change their job very often. They do this. They change where they live, like their how you say your house, right?
Your
Like oh, live
girlfriend.
for the girlfriend. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really like that, right? Where
That's
some people
funny.
have really struggled to be consistent with something.
Yeah, yeah, that's th no, this is good perspective for people because I think it's important that if you have a plan, that it's important that you stick with it for a certain period of time so you know if it's working or not, like if it's benefiting you or not, right?
Exactly. And that is why even bodybuilding, right? It's not for everyone. There's
No.
many sports in the world. And a big part of the contract, what you sign when you want to be a bodybuilder is like, hey, you need to find a way to enjoy the kind of boring stuff. You need to find a
Yes.
way to, otherwise
Yes.
there won't be success. Yeah.
Absolutely.